Women of Reddit, what myth about women is 100% untrue and infuriates you when you hear it? That females are not good at video games, or that they have a male friend who is boosting them to their current rank if it's higher than this, and then when they find out you're actually better than them, they try to deny it. It's so annoying to go in a lobby with random people and it's filled with guys who belittle you or talk down to you because you're a female. That we are bad drivers. I have had my first car for 3 years. I'm in my early 20s. I have never crashed, but have had 2 men crash into me from behind. Both times I had to fight tooth and nail to the officers to believe me. Both times the blame was given to me. Even when the crashes were from behind and backside, merge lane and red light. The cops' reason? Well, unfortunately ma'am, I have to put the blame on you, since you are a fairly new driver. Drive safer next time. You should always keep distance while in the merge lane, even if he was behind you. Apostrophe. This was mentioned several times in high school. Women give sex to get love, and men give love to get sex, which I think is as insulting to men as it is to women. That because you don't like another woman it's only because you're jealous. Listen, I can hate a woman because of something she did or said and in no ducking way be jealous of her. She may be just dumb, and why would I be jealous of that? The woman never gt alongwit hermansid is honestly the most infuriating stereotype I hear about women. Like really? We just all hate each other and never get along? Okay, sure. We pee with our vagina. I had this discussion with a woman once. She swore that it was not only true that women pee from their vagina, but that a woman couldn't pee until her hymen had been broken. She had a daughter. Maternity leave is basically vacation. If you've ever experienced the exhaustion of carrying a child and the intense body changes that occur during and after delivery, you'll find out that maternity leave is necessary for recovery and is not a vacation. Try working with a second, third, or 4th degree tier while now trying to deal with a baby that needs to feed every 2 to 3 hours. Edit. Thanks for the silver, kind person. I bought Witcher 3 to play after having my baby. Yeah, I haven't had time to play it since he's been born. He's 3. Somewhat related. I went to preschool in a church. My teacher told us the story of Adam and Eve. At the end she said us. This is the reason God made women afraid of snakes. Several girls spoke up and said they weren't afraid of snakes. I don't remember what my teacher's exact response was, but I remember she was really annoyed. That has got to be the weirdest application to the Adam and Eve story I have ever heard. That women don't snore. Seriously. I've heard this loads and it always baffles me. People breathe when they sleep. Sometimes it makes some noise. Male or female. Let them breathe. Really? My wife snores like a water buffalo drowning in porridge. Edit. Wow. Gold. Silver and a train. The uterus is harmed when women drive. This was the excuse used by Saudi Arabia 4 years before women were finally allowed to drive in 2017. Nearly everything about endometriosis. It is sorely misunderstood. RIASARC is underfunded, and terrible treatments get used all the ducking time when they don't help and make things worse. It's a hidden debilitating disease, and I hate the misinformation spread about it. There is help out there and legit treatments. Eater, thank you kind strangers for the awards. For those suffering and needing additional resources, the Facebook group Nancy's Nook Endometriosis Education is an amazing resource. Yup. My wife suffered with severe endo for most of her life. I can't count the number of nights she was a mess on the bathroom floor. Just in absolute misery. Doctors never really took her seriously and brushed it off as overly dramatic, which is total bullshit because my wife can handle some pain. 12 years of rock climbing, alpinism, and mountain biking together has convinced me of that. An endoscopic treatment alleviated the symptoms briefly, but returned to normal after 18 months. She was able to marginalize the effects somewhat with a heavy regimen of NSAIDs, but those are not great drugs to depend on heavily. She had a hysterectomy a year ago. She can't believe she waited 49 years to do it. It's no longer an issue for her. not a girl. But I always found it sad to see articles where 8 cases are shut down because she has an intact hymen. The hymen doesn't break the first time you have sex, but it can if you are too rough with it. Hell, horseback riding and tampons can break it, and it won't always bleed the first time. It may break, or it might not. Both are perfectly normal. Did you hear about the ex-Kentucky governor who just pardoned a convicted rapist of a 9-year-old girl because her hymen was still intact? So he didn't believe the guy really raped her? Question mark? I want to put my head through a wall over crap like this. Stuff about our periods in general. Like if we're mad, it's definitely because we're on our period. We never have a legitimate reason to be upset. Also myths like we are able to hold in our period or we only have it for a day or that we are impure. The impure one definitely infuriates me. I just think about the billions of women throughout history, and sometimes even today, being treated as if they are impure or an evil omen because of a bodily function they cannot control. Banishing them to menstrual huts when they have their periods or not allowing them to touch anything. And yes, this happens. My mother as a teenager was not allowed to touch anything when she had her period. It got to the point where she would just not tell anyone she was menstruating and do what she wanted. That periods only last one day. I'm infuriated that this isn't true edit. Okay. So before I get bombarded with any more messages as to how it's possible to even come to the conclusion that periods last only one day, the kid explained his reasoning as he thought that periods happening once a month meant one day per month. That is all there is to it. That we all hate when our significant other is going to hang out with friends and we expect them to be with us 24/7. We love children and have natural knack for them. When women abuse children they are seen as damaged. Men who abuse children are sick. My mom was a good example of women who should not have kids. Lol. All women are the same and must therefore have the same interests, skills and opinions. I have a coworker who anytime he learns something about me, he pulls the old I don't get women and I'm like, well, it's not women, it's just me. We are all individuals. That we all love shopping. I ducking hate shopping. I hate shopping for clothes. But give me $100 and I could easily spend it in an art supplies store. Every time I throw up or say I feel nauseated, literally since I was like 16, the first thing someone jumps to is, are you pregnant? Like we can get sick without it being because we are knocked up at it. Changed nauseous to the proper nauseated it again. Personally, if a doctor or nurse asks me, I simply answer and move on. That's part of their job. But if I mention to my mom or a coworker or a random stranger hears me telling my husband that I feel sick, it doesn't mean I'm pregnant. That the more sex you have, the looser your pussy gets. It's a multitude of muscles. I always want to ask, does your arm get droopy and loose because you've been flexing it all your life? No? Then why would you think a vagina would? That my husband handles fixing shit around the house. No. He's completely lost with that stuff. The tools are mine. I painted all the walls. I'll landscape the garden and flower beds. And that grill is mine too. I do the barbecuing and I love it. My husband fixes all the electronic stuff and picks up the heavy stuff while I make inappropriate comments about that tight butt. All women want/need children. Also, women who don't have children are not maternal or not good with children. No, I just enjoy a disposable income and am too selfish to take care of another living creature. That as little girls we all dreamt about our future wedding. Not all women want to get married or actually enjoying attending weddings. Every woman is the same. That we all like the same things. That every period is the same. Every childbirth is the same. That if one woman says periods hurt and one says it doesn't, one of us has to be lying. That if one woman's childbirth is easy, the rest must be faking it or weak. It was frustrating for me watching my wife deal with intense morning sickness while pregnant and people who didn't get that would just dismiss her. My wife is an incredibly hard worker, but she had to quit her job because she couldn't handle being so sick. and even people in her family just didn't understand it. Even some nurses who work with a lot of pregnant women didn't understand how hard of a time she's having. So frustrating seeing people be condescending to my superwoman. Edit. Thanks for the gold. I didn't expect this to blow up so much. That we are only supposed to like rom-com movies. Someone once told me I've quite a masculine movie collection, WTF. That we mean the opposite of what we say. I just think people misunderstand why women's bathroom lines are so long. It's not because we're all vain, it's because we have to sit every time unlike you and wipe, and it takes a lot longer, and some women have to get undressed to do so. Also, not even to mention how time consuming periods can be. As a woman, having to take a poop while on your period is an entire event that requires so much time and clean up. There should be a stall dedicated to it. That the clitoris is hard to find, or that labia grow exponentially with lots of sex, or that vaginas are anything but elastic. Basically every ridiculous myth about female sexuality and their genitals. If they can't find it, they're not really looking. That all of us secretly hate each other and are innately gossipy and bitchy. Some dipshit on here tried telling me once that he knew all women resented each other because he knew the nature of women. That old saying, men insult their friends but don't mean it, and women compliment their friends but don't mean it, paints women as catty / unable to have genuine friendships, which is BS. The whole goddamn OHYRM ad, why are you must be EONYOUR period, especially when it's coming from a guy that easily gets angry at the dumbest things and can't control his rage. That women are irrational because of their hormones. The irony is that some men make excuses for their behavior because testosterone apparently makes them unable to control themselves. Women are looking for a man to provide for them. It's attractive to have your shit together, but I can handle myself. I just want a best friend to duck and goof off with. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.